And to assess what we saw, Joe Musso alongside CBS NFL analyst Emery Hunt, who's been doing it all night, and that we give thanks for. Emery, appreciate you always. And there was something only a family or a mother could love in this one, and that is the Baltimore Ravens' performance offensively. I'm trying to make sense of it here. 5 total turnovers. Lamar, 3 on his own name. Time of possession, nearly 40-20. This just didn't look like a team that was prepared to play football.
Right. It looked like a team that was out there coasting, thinking that, oh, these are the Bengals. They're 3-8. We should win this ball game easily because we're the Baltimore Ravens and won, these games in a row. But Cincinnati came with it on their mind this game in terms of how they played the point of attack. Baltimore really couldn't dominate in the run game, and on defense, they had issues in getting pressure on Joe Burrow. So shout out to the Bengals for doing a great job up front along both sides of the line of scrimmage. And we came to this game talking about how the Ravens were playing really well coming into this ball game. The defense had locked in, and I thought the Ravens were going to not lose another game throughout the rest of the way once Lamar Jackson came back. But playing like this, where Lamar Jackson had issues in identifying the hot receiver off of blitz, juxtaposed to Joe Burrow being able to correctly identify where the right place to go to the football, and how careless they was throughout the game. This was a big play. That could have gotten the lead in the ball game. The self-inflicted wounds. This took a touchdown off the board. A slight push-off for the offensive pass interference. All of those things prevented them from blowing the game open, and the defense just got worn down over the course of 60 minutes because their offense didn't help them out.
To your point, Burrow was seeing the matrix in this one pre-snap. It was the high-level stuff we expect. It looked like he kicked some rust early on and then played that level of football we've come to expect from the former first overall pick. Some of those throws in the second half were full-on Joe Cool stuff. We'll get there in a second, but we got to talk about the other quarterback here, Lamar Jackson, because yes, he might not be at full health. He might have faced a Cincinnati defense that decided to play their best football that they have all season long, but we're talking about no touchdowns and 5 turnovers over the last 3 starts. We're talking about his first 3 turnover games since 2021 here in front of a national audience. What's going on with Lamar right now?
He's in his own head, and this is someone that has lost so many fumbles. I think he has the most lost fumbles since 2020, and when you have that problem, this was a bizarre play, and luckily the defense bailed him out, but you can't put the ball in the turf. And I think that's something that used to creep up with Lamar, not necessarily the interceptions, it was always the fumble. That right there was when I learned that the tuck rule doesn't exist anymore, but that was a fumble. So those plays took points up off the board and put the Ravens team in a bind. And when you are looking at an offense that's supposed to be predicated and led by their quarterback, and he's out there turning the ball over, you can't get any continuity going because they're looking for you to have success, and you're the one that's participating in your own team's demise in a way by putting the ball on the ground. So this is a bad game for Lamar Jackson, probably the worst game I've seen him play collectively his entire career, because it was the fumbles, it was when they needed it, and it was a significant game. Now they go from being 4th in the playoff picture to 9th right now because of the loss.
Yeah, this throws the division up in the air right now. Big football game coming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Bills later on this week to try and jockey again at the top of the division. But to your point, this is not the Lamar Jackson that had one of the greatest passing seasons in NFL history a year ago, coming up just short in that MVP race. This is something completely different. A turnover is a turnover. 5 of them is going to be hard to survive, but 4 of those being fumbles seems like something as well. Interceptions may be a little bit easier to overcome than fumbles because we had the football,
right, and
now we don't. An interception, maybe sometimes you're trying to make something happen downfield and you just can't. Let's talk about positivity in terms of getting that ball downfield. That was the second half for Joe Burrow. 24 of 46 in total, 261 and 2 touchdowns. The dot over the middle, recognizing a mismatch from the slot. Dealing one to Yoshivas. I'm sure we'll see it here shortly on the cut-up, but another great ball here. How does he grade out in your eyes in his return to action?
A+, because where he really separated himself from Lamar Jackson on the opposite side is 3rd down and also versus the blitz. The Ravens tried their damnedest to blitz him all night long, but he always had the right answer and was able to identify the most ideal matchup and get him the football. And on top of the fact that guys are out there making plays, Jamar Chase made some fantastic catches. You saw that one by Tanner Hudson in the back of the end zone. That was a fantastic catch. And even when they were trying to blitz, Burrow showed you that his toe wasn't a problem because he got outside contained, got outside the pocket, extended, and found guys downfield. So he had an A+ in my opinion because I thought how he handled situational football, where the ball was going, how he was able to deliver decisively, and also how he was able to utilize his athleticism and his mobility. So everything for me looked like Joe Burrow, on top of the fact that the offensive line did a fantastic job in keeping Baltimore at bay because they had a little bit of balance. The run game was effective enough to where you had to respect it, and that allowed Joe Burrow to be Joe Burrow.
Cincinnati gets their first ever win on Thanksgiving Day. Not many opportunities, but they get one here, and Burrow remains perfect on the season. Now 3-0 in games that he starts and that he finishes. Burrow, we know he is the rising tide that's going to raise all ships in Cincinnati, but is there a world in which a quarterback's play or just the belief of him leading you out there can translate to the defensive side of the ball? Because this is the best we've seen from Cincinnati. This is the worst defense in the NFL by a long shot. Missed tackles, they have 35 more than anybody else coming into this game. Scoring defense, they're the worst in the league. This has been a group there's no redeeming qualities to this point. Can Burrow's presence alone bring that side of the football to life?
I will say it's fascinating because that's a great question because it harkens back to a time when Doug Flutie played with the Buffalo Bills and the team just looked different, juxtaposed to Rob Johnson when he was quarterback in the same Buffalo Bills team. Tebow, and what he was able to do when he stepped in for that magical run with the Denver Broncos. It can happen, but I got to give some credit to Al Golden, the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, did a fantastic job in dialing up the right pressures versus Baltimore, knowing Lamar Jackson was not the Lamar Jackson. He ran a little bit more so tonight, but man, the defense was active. They were aggressive. They made plays on the ball consistently. How many tip passes we saw that didn't just fall aimlessly to the ground? The Bengals were able to find a way to get that ball in their hands and turn the ball over and just staying aggressive throughout the game. So, yes, Burrow can raise the level of, hey, man, we got our guy back. Let's ramp it up a little bit. But I have to give credit to the defense, according to Al Golden and those guys on defense, for doing exactly what they needed to do to secure this win.
Yeah, credit certainly deserved there, and that is something that it's a welcome sight. If he's leading you in one way or the other, or if he's leading his offense downfield, even on drives that stall, it's a longer field for that defense. It all plays into itself. And those 53 men going out there in concert, with Joe Burrow, you're always going to be better if you're the Cincinnati Bengal. Again, their chances slim to none. They find themselves in the exact same situation as they did a year ago. They rattle off that win streak. They don't get the final result that they needed week 18. Maybe it's a similar situation. I think we're more apt to talk about what the Baltimore Ravens loss means in terms of the broad picture here playoff-wise. Still looking at the schedule ahead. You still have the Steelers twice. That is going to decide that division. In the hunt, it's all well and good. You're sitting at 6-6. The Steelers 6-5, likely getting some points against a down Buffalo Bills team that needs their win in the worst way this week as well. It's going to come down to those two matchups on December 7th and on January 4th between the Steelers and the Ravens. Which one of these groups do you favor right now, seeing what we just saw with the Baltimore Ravens?
It's crazy because the Ravens lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Texans, they lost to the Bills. So their only chance to get in is by winning the division. So they have to not only beat the Pittsburgh Steelers twice, they got to beat the Bengals once the next time they play them, and they have to beat the New England Patriots because they have no tiebreakers to really win a wild card spot. Their spot has to come from them winning the division, and it became tougher tonight because they lose a divisional game to Cincinnati. And now their only pathway is to not look like they look tonight, go out there and probably be better throwing the football, have to be better versus the blitz. They may not be without Nate Wiggins. We'll see what the severity of his injury is. So they got to be better and excellent. They have no room for error the rest of the way.
We've been waiting for MVP Lamar to arrive. Well, it's now or never. And again, in the grand scheme of things in the AFC, when you're trying to get over the hump that is the Kansas City Chiefs, it looks like that hump might take care of itself this season. If you're Lamar Jackson, if you're Josh Allen, or if you're anybody else trying to make a name for yourself in that AFC in the era of Patrick Mahomes, now is the time to do it.